Feeling a little creepy. That's why I'm dressed like this. You've seen the title by now, so let's get to it. How would you feel if you had to turn your dad in for being a serial killer? That would be weird, right? Well, this story is about April Velasquez, Velasquez, and her father, serial killer Edward Wayne Edwards. Never trust a guy with two names. You know what I'm saying? Two of the same names. Your parents named you that, buddy. You are deemed rotten from the beginning, I believe. You were just, yeah. They knew it and just said, "Fuck it." Edward Wayne Edwards. So April was the oldest of five children, and her mother was a hard worker. Her father was a repairman and an author. He wrote a book about being a criminal and would take his children to do, speeches. He loved to talk about crimes. He's addicted to it. Hey, Twiggy. So, what he did was they would he would move the family in the middle of the night, you know. And as a little girl, she would ask. She was daddy's girl for a long time, and uh, she would ask, "Why are we leaving?" And he'd say, "Because bad guys are after us. Bad guys are after us." Well, come to find out, he was on the FBI's top 10 in the 50s. He was breaking out of jail. He was doing robberies at banks, robbing cars. I mean, you name it. So, I mean, that's the reason why he wrote the book. He liked talking about crime. He'd call his daughter once she got married and was away from the house. He'd even call her saying, "Hey, some such and such is missing. I wonder where he is." She said he tried to play mind games with them. But she grew up in this household, and like every six, every 6 months, she'd get up and have to move, you know, every 6 months. And they look back and it's because someone was killed, someone was killed. It got to where the FBI was bringing her and her siblings little trinkets. They were coming out so much for this man. Okay. And all he had to do, seven states she stayed in. But the Wisconsin sweetheart murders, it was two 19-year-olds at a wedding that came up um, missing, okay, and later found dead, and they were, what I'm saying, they were gone, okay. Family moved, um, and she remembered this, and by the time she was 21, she wanted to leave the violence and everything. So 21, she got married and started having kids and started thinking back. She started thinking back. And when she thought back, in about 1996, when she thought back, she got on the computer and, to see, uh, it, if anything funny happened in each state that, they were at. Nothing was really showing up because the cases were cold, okay. Finally, a couple of years later, she was able to get up there and, track. She was like, "Oh gosh, we were there, the pond was there, da 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 da." You know, he liked to flash things in her face, like the murders and stuff like that. That was his downfall. I guess he thought, hey, that's my love of my life. That's, daddy's girl. She won't say anything. But she started looking at her kids, that were the age of some of the kids that came up missing, later found, you know, murked. Okay. Um, the thing that finally got her was her little brother's best friend, who even took the family's name. The father talked him into joining the army. Little Bobby joined the army, and then get an insurance policy of $200,000, and I'll be your beneficiary. You know, little Bobby's like, yeah, I love you. So sad. And then she gets a call, and he's like, oh yeah, they can't find little Bobby. He's making playing mind games with them, pretty much. Just, oh yeah, they can't find him. I found this. I think this happened to him, or that. Da 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 da. So then, um after little Bobby, she put two and two together, and she was like, hey, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Because every state we were in, something happened. It was, five murders that we know of. Okay. So she calls the FBI. The FBI is just like, oh yeah, disgruntled family member, whatever, whatever. But she told them every state, they were in, you know what I mean? What looked like what, this, that. And, she told him, he's an author. He bought his book and read it, you know, and, she didn't hear anything. So she thought, oh man, I'm such a bad daughter, I, I would be like, my siblings are gonna hate me. Yeah, that's what I would feel like. The older sister, like, damn, they're gonna hate me. But they called her down for a DNA sample because they reopened the sweetheart case down in Wisconsin, and there was DNA there, and hers matched perfectly. Okay, so yeah, her dad did it. He got picked up, and he is 75 years old and in bad health. He's in bad health. He's on an oxygen tank, but he's begging for the death penalty. So he's telling them more and more crimes. He's calling them and saying, hey, yeah, I have a dead, I did a dead body here, I did a dead body there. Yeah, give me the death penalty. I think he was suffering in his last days, because I mean, he looks very, very, very ill, the last pictures of him, because I mean, he died like a year later. He ended up dying, before he got the death penalty, and he died before it was even put into action. But it was all self-serving, the bodies that he admitted to. So it's probably still some out there. you know um he his last thing he did was took a piece of paper and signed it and sent it to the older daughter. And the daughter read it. It was his signature, and another piece of paper that said, keep this is going to be worth a lot someday. you know the arrogance, like, that he was a psycho. People are, throw around psycho so much, but this sounds like a case where a daughter turned in her mother for killing her sister. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be so hard for me to do.
That's horrible.
It would be so hard for me to do. But with the abuse that her and her siblings went through, like, he broke her mother's jaw and then stabbed her mother through her hand to where she had to be rushed to the hospital. So my question is, they're like, oh yeah, it was back in the day, women didn't have much help, blah 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 blah. What the hell did they tell them? How did she tell them it happened? How'd you get a broken jaw, ma'am? And how'd you get stabbed in the middle of your hand like that? You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. I don't get it. He used to punch him, throw him into walls, like, just, and she was still daddy's girl. That's the sad part. That is the sad part for me. Yeah, Twigs. I think I've heard of that story too. I think I heard of that story too. Oh yeah, in the box they put the she put the daughter in the box. She sure did. She put the daughter in the box, and years later, turned her mother in. She starved that girl and had her in a closet in a pamper, and they were trying to trace back the pamper numbers and shit. I remember that. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Oh, wow. 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 So there was like no help, or like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? To get you guys out of the abusive house? That's what I don't get. I come from a loving household, thank God. Thank God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for you. But like, what time, I mean, what years did you grow up, honey, through all that? I mean, I bet you it's hard to fucking turn in your parent, regardless of, you know what I'm saying? They brought you into the world. So regardless of them beating you or whatever, my mom called everyone. It was crazy until he finally left. Oh God. Damn, man. That sucks. That sucks. And you know what? I was gonna ask you, was it the 80s because of how they did the AIDS patients back then? They would just let them die. You know what I mean? Not feed them, not, go in their hospital rooms to even give them their food, their, trays of food and stuff like that. Just let them die in their apartments and things like that. You know, if it was found out by your job, you were fired. If it was found out by, you know what I'm saying, insurers, you're thrown off, you evicted. You know what I'm saying? They did them dirty. They did them dirty. Because guess what? It's a gay disease. It was GRID. It was a gay disease. The gay cancer. Stupid. How they can pass on cancer now? Really? Sexually give me cancer? Get the hell out of here. Just say you don't know. Just say you don't know. Oh my gosh. How the hell did that go? How old were you? Oh,
Twiggy, we're taking donations to Cash App.
oh, oh.
We take donations, Twiggy.
That's
We got
sad.
Cash App.
That's sad. You were 13 and they let you testify at that age. Well, I mean, I guess that's old enough to, but shit, that's hard to testify against a parent, and you have to sit there and face them. I would not be able to do that. I would not be able to do that. No, no. I'm strong in a lot of ways, but my father, I was a daddy's girl. You know what I mean? He was my world. So, yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to do it. Would not be able to do it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. A grown man hitting on little kids. Little kids. How many siblings did you have? I hear these stories and it's like, what the fuck? No, Twiggy, don't listen to him. It's fine. It's fine. Everybody's having a hard time with these high ass gas prices and things. There were three of you. Were you the oldest? That sucks if you were the oldest. It sucks if you were the oldest because it feels like you have to protect, your younger sibling. Okay, I'm a middle child, and like I'm very protective of my little sister still to this day. Still to this day. I don't play those games. Yeah. See, I don't think I could get out and leave, my siblings behind. Yeah. Yeah. So did your uncle have HIV, or were people just thinking he did? So let me tell you something. I got a crazy story about a family member that she waited, waited and waited and waited, kept her virginity. She wanted to be the guy that she married. Okay. Okay. Well, it was a DJ, and he was hot stuff to, the club scenes and everything like that. They got an apartment together, and she gave up her virginity, and he'd go down to Atlanta a lot, a lot, a lot, right? She found medication, but he's just like it's nothing. Why would she think it's anything? But all of a sudden, she started getting skinnier and skinnier, and just sick, really, really sick. And come to find out, he was going to Atlanta to work, all right, but he was seeing trans women and having unprotected sex, and passed it on to her. Like, getting it your first time having sex is crazy. That's crazy work. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you do that to somebody? And then he was like, people these days think it's like, oh, you just take a pill and that's cool or whatever. No, man, that's not cool. It's still not fucking cool. They live with that for the rest of their lives. You know what I'm saying? It could be they could get a bad case of pneumonia, and because they have that disease, it killed them still. You know, so that's why the rate is going back up, especially in Georgia and Atlanta and things like that. It's going up. Not cool at all. And you should go to jail. That what was his name? Ray oh my goodness. Ray Shark. Ray Sharkey. Okay. Ray Sharkey was the first one. He was so sick. He was so sick that he couldn't even make it to his trial. But he was dating, he was a star. He was dating starlets and, models, and giving it to them. See? See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Right there. They're acting like, yeah, we can still just have unprotected sex out here, because guess what? If I get it, I'll just take a pill. I have heard people say, oh, you'll just take a pill, But I do see the responsible ones that take the it's the before. it's a before something, you know what I mean? And have sex that way, you know. But you have to be HIV, you know, negative, and you take it and you can't get it. Yeah, the preventatives. Yeah, the preventatives. I forget what they call them. I forget what they call them. But yeah, they need to open a lot more of those clinics with the preventatives, if you ask me, because the rate is going crazy. And you know, would it being a virus, it could change strains. You know what I'm saying? You know, the strains could like completely change, and then like the medicine won't work anymore. So uh, they're playing really, 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 really stupid games. Really stupid games. You know what I mean? Really stupid games. What if it goes left? You know, it goes left. Yeah, that night that you hooked up was worth. You know, that night that you hooked up in that bar, it was worth it, huh? It was worth it. You don't even remember the girl's name, the guy's name, nothing. You know, you're just having fun. You're just having fun. He ain't have protection. You just told him, oh, it's okay. You look healthy. You know, you go by looks, huh? You look healthy. Stupid. Stupid, stupid. But yeah, that was that story. And I'm gonna look up that story that we were talking about, Twiggy, because I remember that one. That one was so fucking sad. I don't know why the mother picked on the daughter, that daughter, but was good to the other kids. I don't remember. I don't remember why the later on the daughter tells the story. The daughter that turned her mother in, and I can't figure out why she treated that daughter, you know, differently than the other kids. You know, locking her in the closet and, you know, not letting anybody feed her or give her water, or, you know, and she ended up in diapers, you know, 80 pounds. I'm about to go look that one up. Thank you for reminding me that. Yeah, it's a crazy story. I remember that. Oh my goodness. See, Twiggy, you're my kind of bitch. Yes, you are. You are. Check out the outfit. Check out the outfit. Check out the outfit. I need to go into a morgue. I need to go into a morgue, you guys. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Twiggy. Thank you, my love. Thank you, thank you. You're always so kind. Always so kind. That's what kind of channel I want. I want to, you know what I mean? No drama. Just, you know, we relax, chill, and talk like this. But I'll be back a little later, okay? Give me about an hour. I'm fixing to look into this story. Do you remember the name? You remember the name? Twigs, before you go, do you remember the name of the case? Oh, please, please, please remember it. Please remember it. I think it was the refrigerator murder. Oh, what is it called? Okay, I'll find it. I'll find it. You have a great day too. Hope you can tune in a little bit. Hugs and kisses, my fiends and ghouls.